watching MontyTV. I'm Jackie Karsh, sitting down now with Fred Havemeyer. He's a software analyst at Macquarie. Thanks so much for sitting down with me.
Hey, Jackie, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here at the Montgomery Summit.
We've got all sorts of issues in the market. We've got supply chains, labor shortages, pandemic. What are you focusing on?
All of these are really top-of-mind concerns for enterprises globally. And as a software analyst at Macquarie, these are issues that all of the companies that I'm covering and all of the companies really here that are addressing the enterprise space at Montgomery Summit are also talking about. We have issues ranging from developer shortages to companies not being able to really hire enough people to do the jobs and to address all the digital transformation priorities that enterprises are facing nowadays. So these are really key topics that we're talking about, that we're dealing with every single day. And as enterprises are trying to shift to the cloud and manage their business resiliency challenges, especially after we faced the COVID-19 pandemic and the shift to remote work, these are really driving every single aspect of what businesses are investing in nowadays.
Of all that we've experienced over the last few years, which do you think will have the most lingering effect?
It's going to be tough to pick just one here, but I think that when we're talking about this, the shift to remote working has been, I think, one of the most impactful outcomes of the COVID-19 pandemic. Businesses needing to move towards remote work paradigms as they're digitally transforming, shifting to the cloud to enable employees working everywhere. I think that is really going to have one of the most lingering and long impacting just outcomes of the pandemic.
What are you seeing? What trends are you seeing as people try and solve those big problems?
What we're seeing is that uniformly there's a secular shift towards the cloud, and it's towards a hybrid cloud and a multi-cloud environment as businesses are trying to invest into those technologies and approaches that are going to ensure that not only they have business resiliency in the face of additional challenges like pandemic or anything that is happening out there that's difficult to predict, but also ensuring that their employees are happy, that they're able to retain the talent that they are able to hire. And also that, in my area, when we're focusing on software developers, that those software developers have access to the tools that they want and that they need as they're becoming increasingly important as consumers and also drivers of IT spend within enterprises.
Have you found that the consumer is really driving everything right now? I mean, one of the biggest things that came out of the pandemic is that the consumer really has become at the forefront of demanding when they want things, how they want it, or they'll leave. So how does that affect how you see companies and software going forward?
Absolutely. In our space, when we're covering enterprises here, the consumer tends to be someone internal. And what we've really seen is that the consumer is nowadays internal business users. It's internal developers. It's those people that in the past might have really been reporting into, let's say, a CIO who's going to tell them what they're going to do and what they're going to use. But nowadays, what we're really seeing within developers and the developer community is that they are very influential in terms of the tools that they're choosing, the projects that they're bringing into enterprises, and the type of environment they're expecting. So in terms of the internal consumer, what we're really seeing is that it's extremely important for businesses and enterprises globally to be able to keep their developers happy, keep their internal consumers happy, and preserve what is going to make a solid workplace to keep everyone employed and keep them deal with retention issues.
There's a lot of talk about the cloud, data migration. What are you most focused on or most excited by?
There's a lot of things that we've been very excited by. I think that when we're talking about shifts to the cloud, one thing that we're really seeing and we get very excited about is the way that it just unlocks ubiquitous business value. There's many different ways that we're seeing this explored. What we're seeing is kind of, as one described it, the explosion of Cambrian SaaS in this environment, where we have so many companies that are doing so many interesting things to innovate that we're really seeing an environment that is transforming the way that businesses are approaching their end consumers, the way that they're innovating internally, and all of this is catalyzed by cloud development and being able to accelerate development timeframes.
So does it matter anymore that people, do their time in Silicon Valley, or really they can start something up anywhere?
I think that the question almost used to be, do you have to start a business in Silicon Valley to be taken seriously? And then it expanded into, well, you maybe started in New York and be taken seriously. Now we're seeing tech hubs that are opening up everywhere. And we're seeing it not just within the United States, we're seeing it across Asia, across Europe, across Australia. It is something that really, the global opportunity that has been unlocked by not only a globalized economy, but also by the ability to develop more simply and easily in the cloud and also with employees everywhere. Truly, it is one of those opportunities where there are businesses just growing everywhere.
Well, it's good to hear that you don't have to be in one place. You can kind of be anywhere.
Certainly.
Fred, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Thank you very much for having me.